In Amarillo, Texas, there are some things you can always count on. Wide open spaces and a steady stream of wind. A unique idea of what to do with an old Cadillac. And a grandmother and her horse who always seem to be world champions. Will it be 7 world titles for Mary Jo Milner, or will someone new cut their way to the top? Welcome to Amarillo, Texas, as AQHA's Best of the West coverage continues at the 2005 NCHA World Finals. Hi, everybody. Jeff Metters along with Phil Rapp, who's number 2 on the all-time NCHA money list. And Phil, last week we delved into the open competition. This week it's the non-pros. What is a non-pro?
Well, a non-pro is somebody that does not make a living showing cutting horses. You see doctors, lawyers, ranchers, and even grandmothers showing in the non-professional competition.
Yeah, and sticking with that theme, if you look up non-pro in the dictionary, you'll probably find Mary Jo Milner's picture dominant here. She's won 4 of the last 5 years.
You're right. Mary Jo is such a fierce competitor, and she's dominated the non-pro. The cutting's never over until Mary Jo's done showing. This year, she's back on her game in quest for a 7th world title.
And we start with Mary Jo's other half. This is Jim Milner, who's won this title himself. Won it back in 1977. He's riding a 9-year-old highbrow cat gelding, Let the Cat In.
Jim's a consummate competitor. He's won every NCHA event that there is to win. He's been a champion several times at other major events around the United States. Jim, just the ultimate non-pro, if you will. He is a businessman by day, and on the weekends he's cutting at weekend shows around the United States.
He spent a lot of time competing against his wife, and that's something that you're also very aware of and have been there yourself. And how do you avoid the husband and wife rivalry?
Well, Jim and Mary Jo pull for each other. It's a team effort. Last year, Mary Jo needed a horse, and Jim let Mary Jo use this horse right here so that she could try to become a world champion last year. So at the end of the day, the money all goes in the same pot.
Has a calf there that a little bit too much side to side, and Jim found a way to get off of him.
Yep, Jim, as I said, he's got all the experience. Jim's trying to look for a second calf in there that's going to give him a little more play in the middle of the pen. As you know, most of the high scores are all dictated when you hold a cow in the middle of the pen.
You know, these cutters are going to sit and watch these guys settle the herd. And what do you look for in your cattle when they're settling the herd that might lead you to say, hey, yeah, I want to cut that one? This one obviously pretty lively and trying to head to the other end of the arena, but Jim's got his hands full. Yeah,
it's a pretty strong calf. But what you're looking for is a calf that's going to have some honor and some respect, something that looks like it's going to be able to stop when your horse heads that cow, and also is not going to have too much move to it.
So he's had one cow that's been pretty much side to side and a pretty lively second cow. How's his run going for him, and what do you want in this third cow to finish things up?
Jim's looking for something that's going to stay in the middle. Jim's looking for something that's not going to try to leave the horse. He wants something that's going to stay eye to eye with that horse and try to rack up as many points as you can. You obviously want to finish stronger than you started, so that's what Jim's looking for. Maybe something a little bit softer that he can play up in the middle with some fancy stuff. But right now Jim's on a 71, 72. So he's wanting to kind of increase that a little bit, maybe to a 73.
See the clock there over his shoulder. You get 2.5 minutes.
That's right. And Jim found that cow right here. This is the cow he was looking for. See how that cow stays a little bit closer to the horse's face and eyes, and that horse can kind of help control it. Jim's making a good, strong finish.
Why do you always find those cows when it's down to the last 15 seconds of work? Good final cow for Jim Milner. His score, 214.
Well, Jim was the first cow, I think, kind of tricked him a little bit. His horse dialed in there after the second cow, and the third cow was just the way he wanted to finish up. Maybe the score not as high as Jim had hoped, but that should still earn him a good check.
That's Austin Dietrich making his way in. WSR looking high. Another highbrow cat gelding. Not going to make a deep cut right off the bat. This cow that he wants right out front, so he's just going to chip him right off.
That's right. There's no sense in wasting time in the herd. If you find that cow you want to cut, let's go in there and cut it. This is a good yellow calf right here, giving him a good challenge. It's making a quick run, but that horse is protecting the herd in the proper way. That calf's got a good challenge right there, and he quits right there. We maybe needed to clean that quit up a little bit more to. Goes in there and finds a second cow.
Austin's had a pretty good show here. He started things off with a 219, struggled a little bit in the second round with a 206, and boy, did he come back strong in the third round with a 221. And this, of course, is the final round here in Amarillo.
Well, everybody comes to Amarillo to do their best. This is the World Finals, and so they want to put their best face forward, if you will. And this is a good cow right here. Really a nice horse, and a good redneck cow that he's picked out. The horse has a lot of eye appeal, a lot of stop. I can see why he's marked those bigger scores earlier in the week.
You know, and Austin looks like he's been working on a ranch in Texas, but I think he actually lives in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Well, he knew the weather temperature out here this weekend, and so he was going to dress for it. What a good second cow right there. That's what you want to see right there.
A young cutter who's had a great run here in Amarillo, Texas, and that really, I think, builds your confidence and maybe a little motivation to dig back in there and haul for the world again in 2006.
Oh, I think it does. You know, so many people, if he comes from Pennsylvania, many of the shows that they have to go to up there are weekend shows instead of the the aged events that many people can attend in Texas. He's got about 20, he's got 32 seconds. It's a lot of time on the last cow right here, Jeff. We'll see what he does. Look, picked another good yellow calf right here. Good challenge. He's got a good run started right here to see how it finishes up. What a nice horse.
Test him a little bit too, working this final cow for quite a while.
Yeah. Well, this is what sticks in the judge's mind. Now this calf's kind of played out a little bit. You'd like to see it move a little bit more than it is, but the last thing that the judge remembers is the last thing that happens in the run.
No problems for Austin Dietrich. A wonderful show here in Amarillo, Texas. Wraps things up with a 217 on WSR Looking High, and we'll look for this Pennsylvania Cowboy back here in Amarillo again next year. We are cutting cows in Amarillo. 217 has the lead. We'll be right back. Glad you're with us for the NCHA World Finals, the non-pro competition. Jeff Metters along with Phil Rapp. Lane Hutchings, the next exhibitor. Rosa Cat is the horse. Lane getting a little bit of last-minute instruction there as he starts into the herd.
You know, as we know, we have a 217 that's leading the show right now. What we're looking for is, if I'm Lane, I'm looking for a good cow to start my run out strong. Tell them that I want to come out here and kind of challenge that 217. Get up there in the 20s maybe and get a good check. Picked a solid black calf right there. What a nice horse. This horse has done very well during the go-arounds and the prelims. Nice, another highbrow cat. You're going to see a lot of highbrow cats throughout the NCHA Finals. They're good horses. Kind of comes up behind that calf a little bit, and this cow I don't think was what Lane was hoping for. Cattle are a little testy in this set of cattle. And he quits right there. That's, it's a decent calf, but didn't give him everything that he wanted as far as a challenge in the middle of the pen.
No lightning to start his run, so he goes back into the herd. And again, the cow that he's after was pretty handy, so
right,
should be pretty quick before he gets back working again.
Well, he made a good cut there, Jeff. He identified the cow that he wanted to cut, and he came in there and cut it. It didn't work out as well. We've seen that happen to some other competitors. He's picked this little gravy white-faced calf, and see, now this calf's giving him a lot better work right there. It's looking pretty good right now. He's racking up the points right there. Good cow.
Plenty of time on the clock for him, still 50 seconds.
Yeah, and this is what you want to do right here. You want that cow to challenge you right there. The horse can head the calf right there. This horse hasn't made any mistakes. Really good. He's really marking up the points right here.
So an okay first cow, then a very good second cow, and again, quickly back into the herd and try to finish working here with this third and final cow.
And right now, with what he's built, he's challenging the 217. You want to make sure that you don't make a mistake, and you want to have a good cut. He's found a good calf right here. This wants to run a little bit. You'd like to see that cow maybe honor the horse just a little bit more. 8 seconds left. Here we go towards the end. It's a nice little run.
So Lane Hutchings, good second cow, but only comes up with a 209, just a point under what you could consider average.
That's right. The first and second calf, or the first and third calves, just weren't what they promised him to be.
So a little bit disappointing there. Ed Blakey will be next to go. Platinum CDS is the horse.
Ed's another cowboy that makes his living during the middle of the week doing, I believe he's in the car business. And on the weekends, you can see Ed cutting all over the southwest United States, a lot of times in Weatherford, in Louisiana. Great competitor right here. This is a nice horse that came out of the aged events last year. This is not Ed's main horse. His main horse sustained a leg injury earlier in the year. But this is sure enough a nice horse anyway. Ed's a good man, good cut right here, this little Hereford calf he found. Look at the eye appeal on that horse there.
A lot of show and a lot of cow.
Yeah. And if you follow Ed around, he's got a huge bus out there, and he has a 4 or 5 horse trailer in which he keeps, I believe, a couple of golf carts in that thing as well. It's quite a deal to see Ed pull up to the show.
Lives in Benton, Louisiana.
You know, the cattle right now, I'd say they're average. They're not giving everybody a lot to choose from, but they're not eliminating the people yet from the cutting either. He's picked a little yellow cow with a little bit of white in her face, and see how this goes. Get that traffic cleared out. Put his hand down. Putting together good work. That might be a miss right there. That might be a 1-point deduction.
If you're with us for the open competition, it's the horse that's crowned world champion. For the non-pros, it's the rider that's crowned world champion. And if you're competing as a non-pro, it's total money won for the year. So you can use 2, 3 different horses if that's what you choose
exactly.
to do.
As I said, you know, he went out and bought this horse later on in the year to finish out the year because his main horse, Murata Clone, had sustained a leg injury. But in the non-pro, you're right, you can show as many horses as you own by the laws of the NCHA.
Deeper cut here on the next cow.
All right, he's trying to take off a little bit of time. Yeah, everybody wants to cut a cow with about 20, 25 seconds. He's going to put his hand down right here with about 22 seconds. This black calf, it's just not, it's working, but it's not getting a hold of him and giving him a good challenge. The horse is trying as hard as he can, but the cow's just not doing its best. The horse is sure trying. Ed's trying to finish up strong. Got 6 seconds left here. He kind of got out of position right there. That's another 1-pointer. There's another 1-pointer there. So Ed's not going to finish up as strong as he'd hoped, Jeff.
Well, those deductions add up. Final score for Ed Blakey, 202. He has to be a little bit disappointed. And on deck, last year's non-pro world champion, Jo Howard Williamson. Hasn't exactly set the world on fire here in Amarillo, but has a chance to wrap things up right here pretty tidy in this final round. Struggles this week hasn't been due to the horsepower.
He's a good horse. I've already won a whole bunch on him this year. I'm sure I'm leading the world this year. But I brought him here, and it just hadn't worked this week. But that's part of it. And I thank the Lord for the opportunity to be here. But the big thing is just being able to get out here with this type of competition and be able to show your horse. And it's been a tough week. There's been a lot of good runs this week, a lot of new people that's done good. That's great. That's good for the sport.
And Phil, you've been on both sides of the fence. Where's it more competitive, the open competition or the non-pro?
Well, the open competition, a lot of times is more competitive because they're the open horses. They're people that do it for a living. That open trainers out there showing several different horses. He's out there making a living, working every day. A lot of these non-pros are out here. They have a 9-to-5 job, and on the weekends they're out there showing.
First cow there for Jo Howard kind of sums up how his week's gone.
Yeah, Jo Howard's a really good friend of mine, and Jo Howard needed all the luck he could last year to beat Mary Jo and become world champion. He was very grateful for that. And this year, it's just not worked out to the way that Jo Howard wanted to have it work out. But he's very grateful for being here, as he said earlier, and he's very grateful that he was able to be world champion last year.
A little bit of trouble getting his second cow kind of freed up there, but working now. A better cow than he had with the first one.
Cutting has been called the most humbling sport that you could be in, and you can see it right there with the loss of that cow. Sometimes it's a diamond, sometimes it's a stone.
And it's a stone in this case for Jo Howard Williamson. Struggles with those first 2 cows, and final cow now, and he's going to be there for a while. Still has 30-plus seconds to work.
Now he's just trying to finish his run out where he can just kind of finish it out, if you will. But Joe Howard, as he said earlier, he's probably leading the world for this 06 year. You'll see him here next year, and he'll be a tough one to beat. Joe Howard's always very tough.
And the third cow there slips back to the herd as well. And I think at that stage, all you can do is smile, and that's what Joe Howard's doing. A world championship from a year ago, a little bit more disappointment at the World Finals here in Amarillo this year, but the tip of the hat and a score 180 for Joe Howard Williamson. And as Phil said, already leading the world for 2006, and things will get better in the next year. Things are pretty good right now for the youngster from Pennsylvania, Austin Dietrich. He has the lead in this round with a 2:17. Jim Milner in second place at 2:14. And his wife, Mary Jo, well, she's about to wrap up another NCHA World Championship. She'll compete when we come back. Welcome back to Amarillo, Texas, the NCHA World Finals, the non-pros in the spotlight. Jeff Metters along with Phil Rapp, and that's calm, cool, and collected Dave Miller riding Smarties, making his way into the herd. Score to beat, 2:17. Austin Dietrich still in the lead.
That's a good way to describe Dave. Dave's always calm and cool. He usually cuts in the middle of the pen with little fault. He's one to watch. I bet he puts up a good score tonight.
Judge is already starting to judge this horse as he makes his way into the herd, and he's a lot like Dave. You know, this horse is very collected, very much together, and very much with his mind on the business.
Cool customers right here. Dave's got a cow or two that he wants to pick out. His help have scoured the herd, if you will, and looked for certain 3 cows for Dave to choose from and cut. Kind of made a rough cut right there, but got his hand down right where he needs to. Now he's going to start breaking this cow down.
You know, cutting really is an art. You watch it, and I think if you haven't done it, you have no idea what's going on. You know, all the balls that are in the air. You're selecting cows. You're managing the clock. You know, you're using your horse. There's a lot to think about when you're out there.
Oh, exactly. You're dealing with, obviously, there's 50 head of cattle in here. Yourself, your horse, your 4 turnback riders, their horses, 5 judges. There's a lot of variables in this business.
And a very solid first cow for Dave Miller and Smarties.
As you can see, he made a little rough cut when he started, but he came back and controlled that cow. Very impressive right now. I think he's might be challenging the leader.
The next step, cow number 2.
Exactly. He's out there trying to find another black cow. He's got a couple of black white-faced cows or a couple of solid black cows to choose from. He's going to look for something that's going to keep his run building, and that's what you want to do. You want to start out strong, but you want to be able to keep that run building in a positive manner. Another good white-faced black cow Dave cut. This horse is up to the challenge, staying in perfect position with that cow right now. Dave's riding him. He's trying to stay out of the horse's way, let the horse work, and do what the horse has been trained to do.
Boy, and that's exactly what he did on that second cow. You hear a lot of people talk about the mirror image. You want the horse basically to reflect what the cow's doing, and you can see some of that right there.
Exactly. Just 7 seconds left. He wants to pop out a good, strong calf, wants to finish up strong, but you're exactly right. Just stay in the mirror image of that cow. Don't do any more, don't do any less.
Just gets that hand down, and a 2:19 for Dave Miller. He did a lot of things right in that run, and that second cow really helped his score.
I think that's where he got the bulk of his points from, is on this second cow. As you can see, this cow was a hard cow, tough cow to read, but the horse did it perfectly. He gave him a good score of 2:19. That's going to get a good check here when it's all said and done.
Dave Miller and Smarty's doing a lot of things right, and you can see that mirror image right there. Very strong horse, so that changes things at the top of the leaderboard. Miller and Smarty's with that 2:19 in first place. Austin Dietrich, the youngster from Pennsylvania, bumped to second place with a 2:17. Now to change things up and to get a lady's perspective, Kathleen Strain will be next to go.
Another good competitor from the northern country up there in, I believe, South Dakota. And this is a very good horse. She and her husband raised some very fine horses up there in that area. This horse, I believe, was trained by Mr. Shannon Hall in its formidable years. Gone on to be a great weekend competitor.
Kathleen lives in White River, South Dakota. Sneakin' Sam is the horse.
And she's out there. These temperatures, they won't affect her at all. She's quite used to them. She's going to pick up one of these black calves right here, make a good strong cut, put her hand down, try to challenge that 2:19.
Single-digit temperatures in Amarillo this week, and does that affect the cattle and maybe the horses just a little bit?
Oh, it affects the cattle more than the horses. You know, the horses are in warm stalls with their blankets on. The cattle, they have to be outside in the cold conditions, and it makes the cattle want to herd up more, if you will, so that they can stay warm. And this cow right here just wants to run fence to fence, not really give much of a challenge. You're looking at pretty average 210 so far. It's so difficult sometimes to find the cattle that want to stay in the center of the pen and to give a good challenge and not run from side to side.
Touching on the judging, you know, most judges start with a 70. You can add or subtract from that. 5 judges, they drop the high and the low, and that's how they come up with the score.
Yeah, exactly right. And judge, they use what they call the thermometer system. And if you can picture a thermometer, as a cutting starts going good, you can see the thermometer raise up a little bit, and as you have penalties or something goes bad, it kind of comes back down a little bit. This is a little bit better than the first cow. The first cow just didn't give her much play. Second cow, a little bit more of a challenge, but now it starts running as well. Wants to run out, and there's just not much that she can do with these cattle other than just maintain her working position and stay at a 70.
You know, you have slumps in a lot of sports. If you have a slump in cutting, is that just picking bad cows or just winding up with bad cows? What would a slump in cutting
Well,
be?
a slump in cutting can be all that. You can try too hard. Sometimes we're guilty of just trying to force the issue too much. Then you second guess yourself. When you do cut a bad cow, then you say, well, why was that cow bad? Maybe I should have cut that. And a lot of times you just have to take a break, take a deep breath, and sit back and say, what did I do right, and try to replicate that. Now, this is a good third cow right here, Jeff. Be interesting to see what the judges do with it. This is a cow that is going to allow you to mark something.
Kathleen Strain and Sneakin' Sam at 210. That probably won't win a check here in this final round in Amarillo, Texas, but we did see a change at the top of the leaderboard. And right now, Dave Miller and Smarties have the lead at 219, but more still to come from Amarillo. Back in Amarillo, Texas, the NCHA World Finals, the non-pro competition. Diane Smith, Colonel's first pick, next to work.
Diane Smith, of course, she's the wife of cutting horse trainer Tim Smith. We'd watched in the Open. She campaigned this horse successfully out on the West Coast. I think she was the non-pro champion for the Pacific Coast Cutting Horse Association. A real neat lady who grew up in Minnesota and found her way out to California, and here today in Amarillo to go out and take her share of the NCHA World Finals.
Narrowed it down to this red cow. We'll see if this can set the tone for a big number for her.
Now, this has sure been a good pair to draw to last year for the 05 year. Diane and this horse had won many championships out in the West Coast and several $1,000s. It's a good cow right here, this red cow, giving her a good challenge. I think it's the first red cow we've seen cut all day.
So that sets a pretty good tone for this run. You can see the patience that she's showing right here. She kind of sizes up the herd and digs in for cow number 2.
That's right. Tim is very good at picking out good cows. I know that he and the other help have got a few good cows picked out for Diane to choose from. She made a good start. See how she does on that scoreboard. Sizing up a black cow right here. Set her horse up. Here she goes. It's a nice horse right here, not doing anything more than the cow makes him do. Staying eye to eye, if you will, Jeff, with that cow. Diane probably would have liked to have worked that cow a little bit longer, but the cow just played out. It looked like it was going to be a good cow, but it just never did give her the challenge that she'd hoped.
Talk about time management now. Probably have a pretty good amount of time left on the clock, so she can, you know, she has the option of being pretty patient again on selecting that final cow.
Exactly.
And the deal there is, you know, even if that cow plays out, you're going to have to work this third and final cow a little bit longer.
That's right. You don't want to get stuck with your third cow for 40 seconds working that cow and in the last 10 seconds stand there, because that's all the judge is going to remember is that you were standing there. But she's got 22 seconds left on this cow. Good little black white-faced cow. Good challenge right here. So many times when you've got to kill some time, you've got to keep going through there. Find your cow, do it right, execute your run. Diane's doing a great job of doing that. Good challenge, good strong finish right here. This should be a good score.
217 for Diane Smith. Good enough at the moment to move her into a tie for second place. Everybody trying to catch Dave Miller and Smarties, 2:19 on top of the leaderboard.
Chad Bushaw is next. Chad in this horse, he'd won the NCHA non-professional futurity back in 2002, I believe. Chad is another one, a non-pro by the on the weekends, and during the middle of the week you'll see Chad working for the UBS financial company, selling stocks and bonds. This has been a great team. It's great to see a non-pro champion of the futurity come back to the NCHA Finals.
Jerry O's is the horse. Well, the first cow, black cow right out of the box.
This is a good cow. It's running a little stronger than Chad wants, but see how Jerry O's went and nailed that stop there?
When your horse does that, I mean, is that a chance maybe to turn a negative into a positive in the judge's mind?
Yes, in a higher degree of difficulty, you're exactly right. Take a negative and turn it into a positive.
Cow comes to a complete stop, and that gives him a chance to get off the cow, move back into the herd, and look for the second cow.
You know, as Chad's looking for that second cow, you know, Jeff, it's so important that once you get that cow by itself, that you put your reins on the horse's neck, so that you can show that horse, it's time for that horse to go to work and have only the rider's legs be the assistants. These horses do all this naturally and through training. Right there, Chad puts a hand on the neck, and it's up to the horse to go out there and hold that cow now. Years of training right here. It's pretty strong second cow right here, Jeff.
Second cow stayed right in the middle of the pen for him, and a little bit more on the side right there.
That didn't help much right there. It's not a big penalty, but it takes away from the run content, if you will. And that's, you know, Chad was going to maybe be a 219, 220. That's going to back him back down to the 15, 16 range. You
have to keep in mind when we talk about a 1-point penalty, you know, that's over the course of 3 judges.
Exactly.
So, you know, that winds up being a 3-point penalty.
That's right. He's got 9 seconds left. Yep.
That can be the difference between getting a check and not getting a check. And
exactly right. Good strong finish right here for Chad. Probably in the 216, 215 range.
215 and a half for Chad Bushaw. So one little bobble there cost him pretty dearly, and it's going to drop him down well behind the leaders. 219 still the score to beat. And there is Red, White, and Boone and Mary Jo Milner. Mary Jo, a 6-time champion. Jennifer Reynolds has more on one of Cutting's household names.
In any sport, there's a name that's really synonymous with it, like Michael Jordan in basketball or Wayne Gretzky in hockey. And it's no different in non-professional cutting, only it's a family name, the name of Milner. There's Mary Jo Milner, who's won an unprecedented number of world titles in this sport. Her husband Jim, always a top 10 finisher. Her son Joey is in the top 20 of non-professional riders. And this week, 2 of their grandkids won world champion and reserve world champion titles here in Amarillo. So when you take that kind of a family, a rider like Mary Jo Milner, and a great campaigner like 18-year-old Red, White, and Boone, the horse that she's going to be riding here, things really set up well for her to win that unprecedented 7th world title.
Well, Jeff, she's going to get started, as you know, that she wants to go out there and be that 7-time world champion. What an excellent first cow she's picked. And this old horse, he's a great horse. I think he's closing in on being NCHA's all-time money-earning horse right here, Red, White, and Boone. And look at how smart he is. This cow can't trick him. Just a great animal.
Mary Jo's first title came back in 1981. She won it again in 1986. And really, it's been this horse that's been so instrumental in her dominance since the new millennium. She won the title in 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003. And this year, over $50,000 already in earnings and wrapping up that 7th title. And it's amazing what a great horse can do for your non-pro career.
Oh, it is. This is a fabulous horse. You know, he's had many open titles. He had an illustrious aged event career and a great non-pro weekend career. But these horses like this, they just have such a will to be a great horse. And you can't teach him to do this stuff. It's just bred into this horse. And what a great horse. I mean, he's really racking the points up right here. This is what cutting is, folks, right here. Horse's will and the rider's will to work a cow.
Quickness, speed, a big stopper. You know, he just has all the ingredients, and his looks don't hurt either. It's just fun to watch him work.
Just a wonderful horse. And his dam Royal Blue Boone, NCHA's all-time leading producer. His sire, Smart Little Lena, NCHA's all-time leading producer. There's no wonder why this horse is so great. Mary Jo's done a great job of cutting right here. She's found 3 excellent cows. If she doesn't have a major penalty, she's going to have a big score.
Doesn't hurt either, though, to kind of stroll in and know that you've wrapped up your 7th NCHA non-pro world title.
Takes the pressure off that way. She just wants to put a good showing on for the crowd.
And that's exactly what she does. Red, White, and Boone and Mary Jo Milner, 2:17. That puts her in a 3-way tie for 2nd place at the moment. And there's your NCHA non-pro world champion for 2005 as Mary Jo caps another great year.
Great show lady right there. Congratulations.
And then looking at our scoreboard, Smarties and Dave Miller still on top with a 2:19. And there's the trio in 2nd place with that 2:17. And of course, Mary Jo, the world champion, right in the middle of that. And her husband not too far behind, let the cat in. And Jim Milner at 2:14. More from Amarillo when we come back. Back in Amarillo, Texas, the NCHA World Finals, the non-pro competition. Jeff Metters along with Phil Rapp, and that's Kathy Boone riding Smart Little Glow. And looking at the scoreboard, you have Dave Miller and Smarties on top of the leaderboard there with a 2:19. That's not impossible. This is still a cutting that's somewhat wide open.
Oh, it is. Any really good, clean run with a little bit of degree of difficulty is sure going to mark a 2:20, 2:22. So it's sure not out of the realm of being able to win this.
Let's talk a little bit about what happens when you ride in the herd there. You have a game plan, you have a cow selected, and I guess sticking with that game plan is the key.
Well, that's right. Kathy's later on in the bunch, so there's several of these cattle that have already been cut. So she's trying to cut a fresh cow that still has some honor and some respect for a horse, and not a cow that had been cut by a fellow competitor, or a cow that maybe had acted silly or didn't have any respect at all. And this good little gray calf that she's found right here, this is a good way to start your run out.
A little side to side, trying to kind of narrow him down to the center of the pen.
That's right. Good challenge so far.
Comes to a stop, and she gets off right there and heads back to the herd, searching for her 2nd cow.
And Jeff, you asked about that, and we keep a list as competitors. You keep a list of the cattle that you like, and you keep a list of the cattle that have been cut, and then you match the list together to see the 3 or 4 or 5 possibilities when it's your turn to go in there of the cattle that you can cut. This little yellow calf right here. Good calf right here. Good challenge. The horse is trying to do her best. I think Kathy just bought this horse last fall from the lady that owned it. Oh, she got behind that cow a little bit, and that was a 5-point penalty per judge right there, and that's what we call losing a cow, and that is the worst thing that you can do in the cutting, is to lose a cow.
Major penalties are something that you really want to avoid, because that 5-point penalty basically turns into 15 points when it's all said and done. Now talk about the mindset of the cutter after you lose the cow. How do you kind of regroup and keep your horse focused and stay with it?
Well, for the finals, and that is, you want to go in there and you want to keep showing. You've worked all year to get here. You want to go in there and let the people that have come to see you compete, you want to finish out your run. Sometimes at the little regional shows, you might just walk out because there's no way that you're going to win a check. Other times you might give a little tug to your horse, kind of correct it a little bit. But here, in the finals, the biggest show for you of the year, you just go finish your run out.
Well, a lost cow really cost Kathy Boone 191. Disappointing way for her to wrap up her 2005 season. As she makes her way out, Wade Russ makes his way in. One act play is the horse. Losing a cow, is that, from your perspective as the cutter, demoralizing for the most part?
No, it's not. We've all done it for so long that everybody's going to have their time when they're going to lose a cow. And sometimes you might get into a streak, as you talked about earlier, where you lose 2 or 3 cows. It's just something that you put up with cutting. Cutting is unlike any other sport where the best rider and the best horse can't always dominate because of the cattle. And you do the best job you can to pick a cow like Wade did here, and sometimes it's not a very good cow.
This cow's pretty lively for Wade. He's going to have to cowboy up a little bit on this cow.
Of course, Wade was world champion in 1998. He moved his hand a little bit, Jeff. Right there, there's a 1-point penalty before he tagged off to quit that cow. But never losing a cow is a demoralizing thing. Cutting is a very humbling sport. One day you can, as we talked about, one day you can be all diamonds, the next day you can be stone.
When you select a cow and his tail goes straight up in the air, that's also a warning sign, isn't it?
Yeah, that is a warning sign. That cow's going to go fast. You want to see a cow. You don't want to see a low-headed cow, but you want to see a cow with a soft eye, and you want to see a cow that looks like he's going to have some respect. Although if you've got a really great horse, sometimes the faster cow that poses that big a challenge can really wrap up some big numbers for you too.
Wade chipped off a couple of cows from the side of the herd right there and settles for the red cow.
Wade, you know, that cut wasn't the prettiest cut, and that's not going to help Wade score any big scores today. And this old gray horse has got a little age on him. He kind of got behind that cow a little bit. And when you just run fence to fence, you know, the horse is doing what he can to hold the cow, but it's hard to mark a big score with cattle like this.
Talk about when it's okay to go ahead and get off the cow. And what are the signs there?
Well, you want to quit a cow when it's either standing completely still or when the cow is turned away from you. And when I say turned away from you, you want to see the judge wants to be able to see its eyes and ears. And those are the two legal ways to quit a cow. If the cow is turning into you or still moving and not away from you, then we assess a penalty of 3 points per judge. Well, he found some dandy calves here, hard chargers, but not much for pattern. It's you know, just kind of an old cow holding contest right here. He's just trying to finish out his run, 3 seconds. Stay with me. There he goes.
Well, that was manual labor, to say the least. 3 tough cows for Wade Rust and a score of just 210 when it's all said and done. Well, we still have 2 exhibitors left, including Jimmy Cogdell. More from Amarillo when we come back. Just south of Amarillo, the little town of Tulia, Texas, and that's where Jimmy Cogdell lives. That's a little hometown advantage right here in Amarillo. Works smooth as the horse, and you know, this is a horse that you can bet has been seasoned on the ranch, and the Cogdells have great horses, and Jimmy's a guy that can, he's a threat anytime he shows up.
You bet, and this horse has been a great horse. He had a great age event career. He's won several non-pro titles. He's won several youth titles that the Cogdell kids have all shown him. It's been a wonderful horse, a great competitor from a great family. Now Jimmy's going out there. He's gonna, you know, he knows that score of 219 still can be beaten, and he's going for it right here. He made a good, strong choice here with the black white-faced calf. He's doing it right so far, Jeff.
Jimmy coming into this final round knowing he's not going to be the NCHA non-pro world champion, so you might as well turn things loose right here. And when you set the tone with a great first calf like that, that's exactly what the doctor ordered. Exactly,
and this old horse can hold any cow that you put in front of him just about. And Jimmy knows that there's a big paycheck if he can hold 2 more cows. Jimmy's looking for that for that next calf that's going to go out there and keep the score rolling. He's a very good competitor. His family's so strong in the cutting and ranching business. Just a great family. Have raised some of the great horses in our horse business. Made a good, strong cut right there. Another black white-faced cow. And that horse goes to work. Look at how low the horse gets, how precise this horse is. Stops. And just truly a great family horse and a great family.
Second cow, maybe not trying quite as much as the first cow, but staying in the middle of the pen and still doing a lot of things right.
That's right. And in a case like this, you know, you've seen some of the big horses go in there and seen what they do. You want to go in there and put a very clean and a very accurate run in exactly what Jimmy's doing right now. If I'm a judge, I'm liking this run. I'm like, hey, this is good. Let's finish it up strong.
Best first 2 cows that we've seen in a run so far?
Yes, it is. Yes. Yeah, and he's right there, penalty free. We had another competitor earlier that had a major penalty, but this horse right here, this is penalty free so far and is doing just a great job. Good, strong finish, about 10, 11 seconds left. That horse has got a signature move right there. He put his head down, swoops through there.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. It's kind of a swoop right there with the cow, and you know, maybe the third cow wound up being the best.
I think you're going to see a good score from here. What a way to finish the run.
So Jimmy Cogdell finding 3 very solid cows, and here's the final cow right here, and got a lot of work done right before the buzzer.
And this horse has been famous for the way he moves right there. He kind of dips down there and swoops through that turn, and that's his signature right there.
Jim Cogdell and Work Smooth, they will take the lead now, a 220. And that's going to bump Dave Miller and Smarty to second place with that 219. Then the trio now in third place at 217. One exhibitor still remains. We'll wrap things up in Amarillo when we come back. Welcome back to Amarillo, Texas on a somewhat harsh winter weekend. 6 degrees outside, and that played into the hands of local cowboy Jim Cogdell, a local rooting interest, 220. He's got the lead.
Oh, Jim did a great job. Jim's no stranger to these cold, frigid days up here in the Panhandle. He knows the temperament of the cattle, and he knows how to handle them, and he did a good job setting the benchmark with a 220.
That 220 still in jeopardy. Stephanie Haymes next to go. Our final exhibitor, the New Orleans Knights, is the horse.
Of course, Stephanie comes from California. She's always a consummate competitor out there on the West Coast. You see so many of those West Coast competitors come back here to Amarillo. California has got some great cuttings and had a great heritage of some great cowboys and cowgirls coming from that area. We'll watch Stephanie on this horse, New Orleans Knights.
Of course, Fort Worth is the home of cutting, and the Reign Cowhorse guys kind of reign out there on the West Coast. How tough is the cutting competitions out there in California?
They can be really tough. I mean, I've seen some great cuttings out there. Like I said, there's been a lot of great people come from California, and there's been a lot of great hands that have made their way into Texas and the Southwest that made their roots in California, started their roots in California. Stephanie's making a good challenge right here, boy. She down in there deep, she found a great black calf right here. Kind of ran to the wall some. She took a she took a little bit of a challenge to come off the wall with that cow and break it down in the middle of the pen, and that's all credit earning right here. You always want to try to quit the cattle in the middle of the pen like she did, and that's a credit earning situation for her.
In the anchor position, she has a chance to steal this final round from Jimmy Cogdell.
Stephanie's making a good challenge at it. It didn't start out as good as Jimmy's run. I don't know if she's going to be able to just get to that 222, but she's making a good run maybe for that day money up there in the second, third place.
Phil touched on the 222. They have adjusted Jimmy Cogdell's score, 2 points better for him, so that's going to make things a little tougher on Stephanie.
Yep, that's right. Right there, she's a little out of position right there. That cow kind of let her off. Our horses want to go a little bit long. Some little penalty points there. I think Jimmy's in good shape to win the round. Stephanie's still trying to hold in there to get a good check. Showing strong, showing till the end.
Her best run here in 4 rounds of competition so far has been a 218 in round number 2.
She's trying to finish up now. When you're last in there, you kind of beggars can't choose right now. And she's trying to find a nice cow that's maybe not the best of the herd, that's been cut, but she wants to find a fresh cow with a little honor. She's found it right here, throwing her hand down. Her help's trying to, you can hear the help in the background trying to get the cow to stop. And that's what happens when you're down in there. A lot of times cattle won't hit anymore. Got 2 seconds left, making a strong finish.
The score for Stephanie Haymes and New Orleans Knights, 214. Not a bad year for her. She's going to finish in the top 10 in the final NCHA non-pro world standings. And the round here belongs to Jimmy Cogdell and works smooth. They adjust his score 2 points better, 222 to win the round. Dave Miller and Smarty's in second place at that 219. And then there's the trio in there for third place. That trio, of course, including Mary Jo Milner as she wraps up her 7th NCHA non-pro world championship. She's standing by with Jennifer Reynolds.
You know what, I feel better this time. I really wanted this. In the Bible, the number 7 is a very important number. And I just kept thinking that's a complete number. And so I don't really have those aspirations. If it happened in the future, it would be great. But this was something I really wanted to do.
Congratulations to Mary Jo Milner and Red, White, and Boone, the NCHA non-pro world champions for 2005. For Jennifer Reynolds and Phil Rapp, I'm Jeff Metters. So long, everyone.